what up?
Yo.
And I have to say, thank you to Zaf Block for inviting us on the celebration of his birthday.
Yeah. Congratulations and everything for your engagement and everything. And for inviting us to the screening of Joker, Folie, Deux. Yeah.
So this is the second installment of Todd Phillips' Joker.
Yep.
And it's ironic because my friend reminded me, Hadi told us, right?
Okay, what did he
that-
tell you?
Oh, before it's ironic. Before they are working with like a low budget because they're working with film. Was it?
I think I can remember. I don't think so. It's not film. Because that would be over budget if you use film.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
makes more sense, right?
Mm.
So they have no budget because DC don't believe in them
In the project.
in terms of like
Yeah.
if it's gonna bring money back.
Yes.
But after the overwhelming success, now like they say, here's 200 million. Now make this second movie.
Who doesn't want that money, right? So of course the
Yeah.
return.
And
Even Joaquin Phoenix returns, man.
I do not blame Todd Phillips, Joaquin Phoenix, and even Lady Gaga. They came in and did something great here. Whatever you may feel about this movie, right? Effort is put in. There is no people just collecting checks.
Yeah. Now let me get this out of the way first because it feels like you have a very interesting viewpoints where everyone else, including me, hates it to the core, right? So yeah, let's just get this out of the way. Which some of the points that you and I can both agree with. Yeah, this might seem like a cash grab or whatever, and you know, like Todd Phillips is like doing this for Teluls, right? But I think despite that, they're using that money to good use. Like the acting is all around brilliant. Joaquin Phoenix is just actually more natural somehow in his in his role as Arthur Fleck in comparison to the first Joker, even though this is veering towards the fantastical route of musical somehow.
Yeah. Speaking of that, we're talking about him, right? Joaquin Phoenix as Joker.
Yeah.
When he sings like Arthur Fleck would sing it.
Yeah.
He doesn't. I wouldn't say he sounds terrible. More like he doesn't sound like a singer.
Yes.
He sings like, like how you sing in the shower alone.
Yes. Yep.
Like that. When you're alone in the room or whatever.
Yeah. And then, of course, Lady Gaga's Harley Quinn, or they call it Lee Quinzel in here, you know.
Okay. For all the people who have doubts, please refer to Exhibit A that we will call A Star Is Born.
Yeah. Starring her and Bradley Cooper, who is also the director. Yes.
Look that up. Let all your doubts subside.
Yes.
And I will tell you right now, she is the best part in the movie. Even though her part is kind of limited.
And severely underwritten and very, very undeveloped and underutilized. But come on, this is Lady Gaga. Use her to the fullest. I don't know.
I don't know what's the point. What the point of saying, "Come on, this is Lady Gaga." I mean, she's not an actor; she's more of a singer.
I know, but lately
mean,
she's taking more acting gigs.
Yeah, I know,
but yeah, I mean, you get Lady Gaga to be this movie's Harley Quinn. If if you dig her past a little bit, she's a little cuckoo in the head, just like Harley Quinn. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, that side of it, right? Her music is kind of cuckoo, right?
Yeah, I don't know why
I never
they
thought of it,
didn't like tap into that part of her as the inspiration a little bit for this version of Harley Quinn. But instead, they write her as a fanatic of Joker. And even though they're trying to show the extremes of her fanaticism, you know what I mean, right? But it's just like, nah, let's not do it. I don't know what they're afraid of. Like, I don't know if it's like they really want Lady Gaga, but Lady Gaga is just too busy, so she can just appear in the amount of time that she has. or what? I don't know. It's just a scheduling conflict thing. But if it's scheduling, it could have been played by anyone else. But Lady Gaga is in it, and it's like a big selling point. So I don't know why, or maybe I know why, because they want to draw people in because it's Lady Gaga. And I thank God this time I'm joining your train of not watching trailers, because those who do were sorely disappointed by how the trailer does not reflect the final product at all.
And the
No.
movie, straight up, literally doesn't go anywhere. And when I say literally, look up the real meaning of the word, not how people misuse it. What I mean by that is that you know what you want, you won't get it. Like straight up. In this version, especially after the ending, you won't ever get what you want. What I'm talking about is specifically this. So when I did watch the movies, Rec 1 and Rec 2, this Spanish horror
Found
movie,
footage
found
movies.
footage movie. So 1 and 2 is like a direct sequel, right? So then we go to 3 is on the first day, on the same day as the events of 1 and 2. The fourth, then we get to see where these entities that are like zombie like are going to go in the city. And all hell will break loose on that movie. I haven't seen it yet, so I have no comment on that. But so far, in my opinion, the only movie that does that, where all hell break loose, where people are all around, people die left and right, I would say the movie that does it best is Cloverfield. Go watch that if you want it.
Yes.
So when it comes to this, you won't get it. What I mean by that, remember on this first film, right? This is minor spoilers. Okay, if you watch the ending, you should know. So I'm gonna say this straight up.
For the first movie, yeah.
For the first movie, you can skip to whatever time you can put afterwards, right? That.
Yes.
So at the end of the Joker, the first movie, he started to become the Joker. And that's it. The entire movie is his journey to become the Joker. It's not the Joker yet. It's not going around killing people, everything like that, right? So you would think that the second movie, especially starting off with, oh, you wouldn't get it. You know, the joke when he beats up
You would thought they would explore further into his descent of madness.
when he beat up the psych evaluator, right?
Yes.
When he got bloody shoes. Yeah, we started off with him in a prison because that's the only logical place for him to be.
Yes.
Because if you haven't realized by now, this is not the Joker from the comics. This is the essence of him and another character that we'll be coming we'll talk about later is taken in, right? He wants to create chaos. He feels like some people's lives are too perfect, too balanced. They want to put imbalance in their world, right? And he feels that the world owe him, and he wants to appease the fourth wall. And by that, I am referring to the theory that was conceived by this YouTuber called Imaginary Axis, which I don't think is still actively doing YouTube. He did make a video back then about how the Joker operates, right? It's not insane. In fact, he's super sane.
Yes.
So he sees, he feels, he doesn't see, he feels the fourth wall and he tries to appease it. Those are the people who read the comics, who watch movies, who watch series where he's in it. When he kills people, he knows it doesn't matter because it would like entertain people that are looking at him. Batman doesn't understand why he does that. Nobody in Gotham knows why he does everything that he does. In fact, even the entire DC world doesn't understand why. And he tries to make people understand by showing that everything is pointless. That is the point of Joker, right? He's not like Deadpool. He doesn't talk to the fourth wall knowingly. It's more like he assumes that's the fourth wall to appease. That's the Joker. So all of the essence of that has been compiled and put into this new character, Todd Phillips's Butterfly. But mind you, this is a realistic take. So if it ended, the first one, he killed Murray Franklin, the character played by Robert De Niro, talk show host. Of course, he's going to be captured by the police and go to the prison. So the movie straight up starts with him being all sad. And this reminds me of the version of him in The Dark Knight Returns, where I think he was in some kind of mental institution which is not Arkham Asylum, because by that time it is already shut down. When he saw in the TV when old Bruce Wayne came back as Batman, he has a frown on his face, and then he suddenly starts smiling, right? So that progression of being starting in the beginning, that where he frowns, towards the end where he smiles more, right? That reminds me of that version of Joker. Now, this movie, let me tell you right now, is more about where the first movie is about how people see him, how the outside will sees him. This movie is about how he sees himself. That's why it goes nowhere, because it's mostly a court drama.
Yeah. Who would have thought it would? I mean, it was heavily promoted as a musical, but no one was prepared for the dramaless court drama. I mean, there are some pizzazz of acting there, but if you look at the bare essence of those scenes, you feel like I'm gonna fucking call it right now. It's just She-Hulk.
Nah,
Okay, maybe there are somewhere in there is like She-Hulk, but to me,
She-Hulk didn't do anything, man. She-Hulk didn't explore enough legal stuff. Even though I gotta say the court is a little bit chaotic, whereas the judge is trying to restrain Joker. That's only by the way of him saying it. In the movie, it's kind of a loose court, wouldn't you say? Just because he's trying to do a realistic take on Joker, right? Doesn't mean that he's not trying to be Hollywood. It's very Hollywood, very Oscar baity, I would say.
speaking of the Joker having like no really particular direction because he's trying to find himself in the second movie, right? I think this is just Todd Phillips projecting. Because if you look back as is I don't know much, but you know he directed the Hangover trilogy, right?
Okay, I didn't know that.
Okay, so the first movie, you know the premise. And then the second movie is a retread. And then I don't know what is the story of the behind the scenes that leads to the third movie, but it feels like he wants to do something so different. No one really knows what it's about. He doesn't even know what it is. So the third movie is like a confusing mesh of comedy, drama, and crime. And that same misguided, you know, thing is again illustrated in Joker Folie Ado. It's like I don't know, and also it doesn't help that he hates the fact that the first movie attracts the wrong crowd that likes it. So the second movie is a fuck you to those
Yeah,
people.
I think I know what the crowd is talking about, and I don't think even Nolan, you know, I'm not speaking for Nolan. I'm just saying that there may be parts of him that also didn't appreciate the crowd that he brings in. You know, I'm talking about the guys who do those memes when they talk about like how being a man, how you're suffering, blah blah blah, the emo guys or whatever.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, those kind of people, right? The people who would usually be attracted to Joker. Not to say um there's anything wrong with these people. I'm just saying like the more immature people, as they grow older, maybe they will realize, man, that's cringe, right? But as they're young, they have that the Joker baby energy, right?
Of course, you're gonna refer to that meme. Of course.
So I think That's what Todd Phillips may be going for in this in like when he says that. I'm guessing because he wants the more mature audience, right?
Yeah.
That's what his version is made for. Especially when Elseworld is different from DCU/DCU or what the fuck it's called, and that is also different from
The
the
Batman
Batman
epic crime saga.
starring Robert Pattinson.
And Colin Farrell as the Penguin.
Yeah, and he is awesome. We saw the first episode yesterday. Actually, for context, we saw Folie Deux on the 1st of October,
Yeah.
and we saw Penguin last night on the
Which is the
4th of
fourth.
October.
Yes.
Yeah. So doing the review after watching that, man, this is kind of a good idea in a way. It's like in case like at least it's for you and you didn't enjoy Follow Edu and it is still leaving bad taste in his mouth. That's something to look forward to, and that is the Batman on that world.
But you know what else can you look forward to?
What?
The music on this sequel. It's just a step up from the first one. I mean, this really goes deep into, taps into Joker's characteristics, and it's more somber than ever before. I don't know how to pronounce the composer's name because she's Icelandic. I don't want to butcher it, but she rocks, man. And the way, I might not like some most of the musical numbers, although some of them sound nice and perform nicely, and the set dressing are also all very nice. But okay, here's what I would compare it to. The music, right? For musicals, okay, I'm gonna bring the irony in this one because when it comes to musicals, you kinda have mixed feelings with Baik Punya Along,
Yeah.
right? I, on the other hand, love Baik Punya Along. But because of how the music, the lyrics is, adding more layers to the story in addition to progressing the plot forward. But in comparison to Joker Folie Ado, it feels like watching Bollywood movies with those musicals. What I mean by that is the music is all about I'm sad, I'm lonely, I feel like I'm in a vat of acid and that's why I'm sad. It's not really about um, you know, when they express the feelings, it's about moving the plot forward. This is not doing that. This feels like I said, being try to be poetic like those Bollywood movies that sing and dance. It doesn't do it for me in that regard. That's for
I
me.
wouldn't compare it with the typical Bollywood
I
movies
do that
that
to
we're
strike you.
exposed to. I 100% disagree with that
Okay.
because I think this is the progression of him from him being totally sad, then falling in love and going through the motion and then get the highs and lows of how what he does can affect people whether he likes it or not. And the little things which, that scene in that room before she went away,
Mm-hmm.
that happened have a bigger impact that than what he could even imagine, right? Like for example, I like the fact that on the record, everybody says he kills 5 people, including Marie, right? So he killed Marie. He killed like the big guy in front of the small guy, and then he killed the 3 people on the train, right? But the thing is, he did kill the 6th person, which was his mom.
Yes.
That wasn't on record. There is a scene where in the court he says he killed like a 6th person, right?
Mm.
When he was really sad because he it turns out even when he was in the courtroom and because the entire thing is televised, akin to Amber Heard versus Johnny Depp,
Yeah.
right? It's a
Yeah.
sensationalized court documentation, right? He when he was riding the highs, there can be a low because of him, someone else is affected. And then out, he says, on top of his already bad record. But in reality, if you actually watch the movie, it's about someone else that died. But he does later because he feels very, very guilty. All the songs, to me, is very coherent and flows well because it tells what he's going throughout. Is to me is what the movie Loving Vincent failed to do. Loving Vincent, the movie that was supposed to be about the life of Vincent van Gogh, and it is like told in the paintings of
The
like
style of painting,
the style of painting of like
Vincent van Gogh.
thousands. Is it Van Gogh only? Like thousands of artists, right? It's not. Of course, Van Gogh didn't do it. He died already.
No.
Right? But it turns out, it's not about who he was when he was alive, right? The movie is more about who killed him and why did someone kill someone so beautiful, which doesn't work because Vincent Van Gogh is only great in retrospect. During his time, nobody cares much about him.
Yeah, he was shunned and everything.
Yes. Now back to this. Why I think this works, because it's actually talking about the life of Joker. Like I said, this is a reflection of his inner self where he pours it out to the world, right? So because of that, it really explores that thing. That said, this is not made conventionally. It's not meant to be like the typical Joker that creates chaos and hurting everyone and beating people down. You know, this is totally not Heath Ledger's Joker. And before you ask me, I'm going to say it right now. If Heath Ledger and Joaquin Phoenix ever meet face to face, right, and they're talking about their Joker roles, they both are going to agree that they just play two different Jokers. That's it.
Yep.
Right?
That I can agree, even though I don't agree with your
none is better than the other.
positivity.
Although we would all like to agree is Heath Ledger, because Heath Ledger also gets his hands dirty more so because he's more like reflecting the comic version where he's hands on and he's like, you know, like a true criminal, beat people up with pipes and shit, right? But this Joker doesn't do that because that's not the point of this duology. The point of this duology is about what if you tell the story of Joker in a real world with real repercussions where you can't just escape the hammer of justice. And it also wants to tell about the story of like fanaticism. And that includes Lee. She's a fanatic. And these people exist. I tell you right now, you can Google like Ted Bundy and you can read like a bunch of forums where like there are women and men alike that are gushing over Ted Bundy, the serial rapist murderer. Like straight up. This is a real thing. And even if I'm not mistaken, the maker of Riverdale that for some reason keeps getting jobs, he sucks, right? He created like a like some kind of a musical theater or some shit that is about his favorite serial killer.
One thing to know about Roberto Aguirre-Sacasa is that he has a very strange history with Archie comics. And by that I mean, he is obsessed with these characters. He is obsessed with them in a way that is a little intense. To make it simple, his entire career has been about taking Archie Comics characters and executing his weird sexual fantasies with them in it. He's been trying to do that repeatedly since he was a teenager. In his 20s, Roberto wrote a stage play called Archie's Weird Fantasy, in which Archie Andrews comes out as gay and has a sexual affair with Nathan Leopold. Yes, Nathan Leopold, the real-life murderer from the 1920s. I'm not joking.
What I'm saying is, this is a real thing, and that is Lee's character. Why she is kind of not shown all that much, because it's not important that she's not shown all that much. All that's important is that she affects Arthur Fleck in a certain way. She moves him in a certain way. And what makes it even better is, if you look at the comics, right, there are scenes where Joker straight up beat up. He's abusive. He physically beat up Harley Quinn, right? To keep her in line. In this movie, she keeps him in line, but instead of beating him up physically, she messed with him mentally, which is freaking awesome because she is a psychiatrist, right? She got like degrees and shit.
Yeah.
And I just love that twist. I love that because it's just retelling that in another way. Because I was wondering, if you're gonna show Harley Quinn, are they gonna waste it? Are they not gonna to show the abusive nature of the relationship? They do, but they just flip the script,
Yeah.
which I think helps because if he's going to pivot to something different, Todd Phillips knows exactly how to do it. I love it. He this angle I enjoy it a lot. That's why I keep smiling all the way I'm watching it. And it reminds me of Birdman as I'm smiling wider and wider, people around me gets more tired and bored and sadder and sadder. Some people even try to leave, pretending they want to go to the toilet, everything like that. And they're like looking at their clocks and like he look at his phone at one point. It's like, oh, okay, it's 11 o'clock or whatever. Maybe it's time to go. I love that. It's like that's part of the entertainment for me, you know? As people hits this movie even more, I feed off that. It's like you have to understand the point of entertainment, right? It's pure escapism, right? So if they can escape, they're in prison. The energy, the negative energy of them being in prison, I feed off of that. You know, you can watch a movie like Dante's Inferno, like on the big screen. If IMAX exists back then, God bless them, but it doesn't. It got bad rating. If you look it up, it's really bad. But we watch it on a big screen. It's like it's meant to be watched that way, right? And there are some movies,
Yeah.
like for example, this one. I tell you right now. I mean, you may not enjoy it if you buy a ticket, which I really do not recommend, despite how much I enjoy this personally. This movie to me is made for Phoenix to make more money, Todd Phillips to say okay, Warner Bros, fine, and for people like me to smile, and for people some other people to suffer. This is what this movie is made for, right? And
Oh
even though I don't
God.
think it's going to be a commercial success, it is successful to be like a masterpiece that I can enjoy for a unique experience that no other movie can compare directly. If anything, again, it's Birdman.
Oh wow, you really like, oh, you're sucking the life force out of me, right? I love you so much. You fucking hate this shit. Like, but again, the prerequisites of this movie, they use the budget to good use. The music is composed nicely. The cinematography and shots are very well
The
composed, very
the
beautiful.
sets, man.
The sets, the colors,
Oh God.
you know, the acting all around is superb. The cinematography, the production design, all of that.
If it eases your pain, right?
Yeah,
It's kind of like
at least I
watching.
enjoy that. Those
It
things.
kind of remind me also of Better Call Saul, where you watch it, it's like, wait, why are they still saying Jimmy McGill, right? Like
Yeah, that's
towards
kind
like
of weird.
the 75% of the 6th season, which is the final one, right? And the thing is, then we realize that, oh, that's not what this show is for. This show is not to show more Saul Goodman. No, it's to show how, just like Iron Man, no matter how what he is called, he's still the same old criminal. And this is kind of like what his routine is, that he keeps, like how if you have a certain quirk, if you stick with that quirk, especially negative ones, till you get to 40 years old, you're gonna keep that until you die. So there's other bad, bad stuff the bad habits that you keep going with it, right? So that is the point of Better Call Saul. It's not about Saul Goodman. It's not about Saul Goodman in his prime. The show is about Jimmy McGill through and through. So it kind of reminds me of that you have to, when you get to the what 10% of the movie left, you realize like, dude, it was not the movie that I thought it was gonna be, and for me, it's better. This movie, man,
I
so good.
For me, I have no expectation because I'm already not interested at the notion of a Joker sequel, because at the time, like everyone else, I think it's perfect. But then they came like, why are you making a sequel? And I saw it, yeah. Why they making a sequel? I still stand on that like everyone else. I'm glad that you are one of the few that is a contrarian. Good for
No, I'm
you.
not a contrarian. This is always what I wanted. Because, like, for example, right, I did say that I always, people say superhero fatigue, and like the thing is, MCU has been doing it the same way over and over again, right? It got stale after the Thanos saga, and in the Thanos saga, they just have that habit, but none of the essence. It's style over substance, and it's boring, right? That's why She-Hulk sucks. She-Hulk has nothing to compare to this movie, right? And then there comes the Sony stuff. Oh, we don't have Spider-Man. How do we do the Spider-Man villains? They turn them to heroes somehow. And then suddenly they wanna, eat their cake too. And they're like, the ending of Mobius, was it? They wanna collab with
Yeah.
Vulture or something. Want
Stupid.
to catch Spider-Man. I'm like, I don't know, man.
I
It's
get it.
so
Don't get it. I don't get it.
it's so freaking dumb, right? To me, that's also not the answer, right? The formula is boring. That is boring, turning to villains to, and this is like loosely, right? People say superhero, but what people mostly mean is comic book based, right? This comic book based movie, right? In my opinion, needs a fresh take. And Joker, the first movie, is that fresh take. But it turns out, with how this duology comes off, right? This is kind of like what do you call that thing? A self-indulgent journey of Todd Phillips, right?
It Indeed it is.
What we need is more of like, dude, actually it happened for us. It's called Iron Man 3, made by
Oh.
Shane Black.
Okay.
That movie, everybody hated it, especially because most people to this day still think that Eldritch Killian is the Mandarin. Like, even when he says, I'm the Mandarin, he wasn't ever Mandarin.
No, it wasn't.
If you
Yeah.
really pay
I
attention to
love
that movie,
I love the third
you know
movie.
that it's not Mandarin. And if you really watch that movie, you do not need the suit. He literally blew up the suit towards the end, like a bunch of the suits, and then he create some more, which is confusing. But let's not get into that. Let's focus on Iron Man 3 here, right? The movie, right, is about him as Tony Stark still being Iron Man. He can still help a kid. He's that same guy who built that first suit in the cave. That is the point of that movie, right? What I mean by that, why can't we have more movies like Iron Man 3 where we have like directors like Quentin Tarantino, Martin Scorsese, which I know wouldn't touch the MCU. I'm not delusional like that. I'm just saying people that are like that.
But funny you should mention, you you like you like to trigger me to do the connecting thing, right? Because you said Martin Scorsese. At one point, the first Joker movie was executive produced by him at one point, but he backed out. And then the movie itself is based on Taxi Driver and the King of Comedy. So yeah.
That's the thing. That's what I'm talking about. Why can't we have more of this movie directed by different directors? And I think we can have another one, right? It's called my favorite, The Winter Soldier. That's a good one. The ending wasn't a straight up like a beam in the sky. It wasn't a fight, one-on-one fight. That wasn't the ending. That was most of the movie, but not the ending. So what I need is if people have fatigue, you should make it another way. Just like when people make COD every year. Don't keep making the same Call of Duty over again the next year. Just rest a bit, and if you do come back, make it another way. So with that, I say this movie is a banger, but not for the reason that you think it would be. So don't go watch The Joker, Folie Ado. And I would give this movie an 8.96 out of 10.
Wow, that build up, that momentum comes to the bombshell rating from you because that's quite high, you know. And yeah, I'm gonna say this and already said it with Bus Pop. I give this 3.5 out of 10. Mind you, it's lower than Badang. This movie, I give it a 3.5 out
That
of 10.
means nothing to me because I never watched Badam.
But it means everything to me because somehow Badang is better. So yeah,
I can't disagree because I don't watch Badam.
but yeah, hate yourself, love yourself, watch it, don't watch it, what have you. It's gonna end its cinema run very soon, so you can go the digital route by the end of October if you want to watch it still. But yeah, you do you. I guess that's it from us, right? Adieu.